Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Smackdown Ring Report and AEW Rampage Ring Reports on the Pro Wrestling Show. What a show we have for you. Coming up tonight, Rated RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions, make a special rare appearance on Raw for the first time. You'll see Rated RKO, Rated RK Bro in action. Well, one of his members, you'll see it. Also, too, on Rampage, Heyman Adam Page defends his world championship against Adam Cole in a Texas death match. Also, too, what is Charlotte Flair attacking Drew Gulak? Drew Gulak, who's trying to be a broadcaster now in his first day on the job, gets figure eight. We'll talk about that and a lot more as well. It's the Pro Wrestling Show. And where was Roman Reigns as well? Where he was at? Well, we'll talk about it when the Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Smackdown Ring Report. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. But this is a live edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button, or like, comment, whatever you like to do, just hit it. Because we're here, we're interactive. We want to be with you in the conversation. So don't hesitate to say what you want to say, be what you want to say. But we're going to kick things off with the SmackDown Ring Report. And then later on, we'll have the Rampage Ring Report as well. So we're going to kick things off with SmackDown. SmackDown kicked off with the Raw Tag Team Champions, Rated RK Bro, making a rare appearance on SmackDown. And Rated RK Bro trying to return the favor to the Usos, who are the current SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They made an appearance on Rated RK Bro's show Raw and issued a challenge that they want to unify the tag team titles. Now, we coming off the heels of WrestleMania when Roman Reigns, conspicuous by his actions, was not there tonight. Roman Reigns normally be on SmackDown, or I guess Roman taking the day off or getting examined, because there was rumors and reports that Roman and Brock was both injured. So Roman probably had to get examined, but they ain't gonna say that on air. They don't want to scare nobody. The Usos and Rated RK Bro made a point that they want to unify the tag team titles one way or another. And it did happen. It is going to happen. But it's going to happen at WrestleMania Backlash. Rated RK Bro and the Usos. It's been official. It's been made official. It will happen at WrestleMania Backlash in Rhode Island, where the Usos can finally get a chance to unify the tag team titles and be up there with their cousin Roman as unified, undisputed tag champs, like their cousin Roman, who is the current unified, undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Roman Reigns he wasn't there, but the Usos was in action. Jimmy was going to be in action later on against Riddle. We'll have that recant later in the show. All right, we kick things off with what's going on. Drew Gulak now the newest member of the SmackDown broadcast team. Drew Gulak interviewed. Who did he interview? He interviewed somebody. He interviewed who did he interview? I think he interviewed Ricochet, one of them two. Well, he interviewed Madcap Moss. Yeah, he interviewed Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss coming off the heels of his what he did, leaving Happy Corbin behind. Madcap Moss saying he's done with Happy Corbin. He's done with Happy Corbin for good. And Madcap Moss shed new light that he's on his own. And he went against Humberto Carrillo, and he went against Humberto and beat Herberto Carrillo in the match. Now, there's been dissension going on between the cousins, the Latin cousins. Now we see Angel. He'll get a shot next week on SmackDown when he takes on Madcap Moss, and could he do like his cousin, win a match for the family after they've been on a losing streak as of late, losing to Ricochet a couple of weeks ago for WrestleMania SmackDown. No, well, speaking of Ricochet, Ricochet defended his Intercontinental Championship against Jinder Mahal. It was an easy bout for Ricochet. We thought it was going to be a title change, but it didn't turn out to be so well. But Ricochet remained Intercontinental Champion, and Ricochet goes on to move on to the next. Now we know this week on SmackDown, speaking of tag teams, the women's tag team championship picture, as you see, Rhea Ripley and what's her name? Liv Morgan. They'll be teaming up this Monday on Raw to take on Sasha Banks and Naomi this week on Raw. Now we know there was a women's match as Rhea Ripley took on Naomi, and Rhea Ripley won the match over Naomi. Is this a signal that they could be losing the tag team titles, and the fairy tale story between Ripley and Liv Morgan will start for Sasha Banks and Naomi? Will that be at the end of that? Only time will tell on that stuff. Speaking of that, Charlotte Flair trying to get some upmanship. She had decided that she wanted Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak coming out the heels of being a broadcaster, doing his job. He was interviewing Charlotte until all of a sudden Charlotte Flair tried to question about submission wrestling, and Charlotte applied the figure 8 on Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak screaming, and some say that Drew Gulak got emasculated by Charlotte. Could be the possibility, but Charlotte Flair sending a message to Ronda Rousey, who wasn't there, that she's going to do what she can, ever necessary, to make Ronda say I quit, and Drew said I quit. My man, it's crazy, but it happened. All right, speaking of that, what else happened? We know next week. It's been rematch after rematch, so we know that Drew McIntyre take on Sami Zayn. Sami's been ducking and dodging Drew over the past couple of weeks. After Sami coming out the heels of losing his match against Johnny Knoxville. Drew winning his match against Happy Corbin, and this rivalry continue on. Next week is gonna be a lumberjack match where Drew and Sami get on in a lumberjack match, but the superstars will be around the ring to keep enforce them to stay in the ring. So we know that. In the main event, we know that at WrestleMania Backlash, the tag team titles will be defended. All the tag team titles will be unified in the unification match. Winner take all. The Usos take on the Great RK Bro for the tag team titles. And what a rivalry been being that Randy Orton and Riddle wanted Adam Pearce to make a match, and Adam Pearce made the match. So Rated RK Bro took on the Usos in a match, and all of a sudden, Rated RK Bro won their match. Rated RK Bro won their match. Minus Roman Reigns wasn't there. Where Roman's whereabouts was, we just don't know. We don't know if Roman's going to appear on SmackDown Raw. We don't know. He's going to probably appear somewhere. Probably have to get reevaluated. And too, Raquel Gonzalez. We might know who her next feud might be against Natalya. We know Natalya's been saying that all the women on SmackDown trying to make it like a cesspool. And Raquel Gonzalez might be targeting Natalya, as Natalya had called out who she wanted to call out. So, like I said, we're gonna leave this image right here. Drew Gulak in pain, like he's screaming for what. Mercy. So that's going to end the SmackDown ring report. We're going to move forward to the Rampage ring report on AEW Rampage this week. We know next week Dustin Rhodes issued the challenge to CM Punk. He wants CM Punk. Everybody, CM Punk is like the princess of the ball. Dustin Rhodes wants a challenge, and CM Punk accepted. We're gonna see it next week. CM Punk versus Dustin Rhodes this week on Dynamite on TBS. Plus two, on AEW, as you see all this right here. You see it right here. The Blackpool Battle Club wins the match. Real Yuta, you see John Moxley, you see Daniel Bryan, and they went against the Gun Club. The Gun Club, woo, with Real Regan on their side. Gun Club didn't really have no chance. It really didn't. But Real Yuta being mentored by Daniel Bryan, John Moxley, and William Regal, he has a chip on his side, and he's got the best mentors, two former world champions, and he got one of the best minds in the business, William Regal. You're good as gold. You're good as gold. Speaking of that, Ruby Soho, destination on the go. Ruby Solo. I can't sing, but Ruby Solo was in action. She went against Robin Renegade in the Owen Hart Tournament Cup. Robin Renegade and Ruby Solo. What a match it was. Ruby Solo emerged victorious, earning herself advancing to the Earnhardt Hart Tournament for the women. So Ruby Soho gets the win over Robin. What's her name? And we can see that. Plus two, the World Championship match was decided. This was decided. Hangman Adam Page goes against Adam Cole. Hangman Adam Page defends the World Championship against Adam Cole in the Texas Death Match. And indeed, it was a Texas Death Match. Hangman Adam Page, in the final moments of the match, did the Hangman Page slam onto the table, and Hangman Adam Page wins the match and retains his World Championship. It's got to wonder, like, is Hangman, not offense, but when CM Punk's going to get that chance to challenge Hangman Adam Page for the championship? I guess he's just building and building. After that kibosh last week, when they brought this sort of Great Khali lookalike, Jay Lethal aligned himself with and Sanjay Dutt, but only time will tell. They said they got botched, but only time will tell on that one. But we'll see. We attack Samoa Joe, and I guess Joe's biggest feud is going to be against this guy somewhere down the road. Also, too, tomorrow night, we may do Battle of the Belts review. Don't hold my stick count. Don't hold me to it, but we may do it. John Gresham will defend the Ring of Honor World Championship against Dalton Castle and his boys. Is going to be reliving history again. Dalton Castle and his boys back again. Also, too, Tony Khan saying he'll make an announcement on Dynamite. Many people are speculating that it could be a screaming deal. It could be a super show, AEW and New Japan working together to do Madison Square Garden, like how they did with Ring of Honor. Only time will tell on that one. I'm trying to see that. That's all for the AEW Rampage Ring Report. So we're going to quickly move over to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics this week, a couple we see here LA Knight, who should be wrestling. They got him now want to be a manager, and he's managing Brandon Williams, who normally was Mace. They're trying to do something with that. I guess they're trying to test the waters with that. They could just put LA Knight as a wrestler. They're just crazy, but that's how WWE thinks. That's how they think going forward. But we'll see what this is going to go through and what this is going to lead to going forward. They always want to put wrestlers in NXT as managers. God. Speaking of that, the living legend, Mick Foley, the hardcore legend, and another hardcore legend, Terry Funk, reuniting. Who can remember Mick Foley and Terry Funk having those classic matches way back in the day? Those bar wire death matches. So they're taking a photo op together. Mick Foley came and made some comment about Mr. McMahon taking the stunner from Stone Cold Steve Austin. which that was funny to him. It was kind of funny, but hey, it is what it is. Speaking of that, La Vea Loca, Tyler Vackery, who's got released by WWE a couple months ago, going to return to MLW. I think she'll make a good face as the women's face of the women's division. MLW, they need a women's champion. She'll make a good face, and she's also doing Impact Wrestling as well. So to keep those wrestling markets going, for Tyler Vackery making a return to MLW King of Coliseum. Also, to Jonathan Gresham, the current Ring of Honor World Champion, he has signed with AEW. He'll be reporting to the Ring of Honor brand, but they'll call him whenever he needs it. So, how the hell would that go? Plus, to Caleb Conley, Caleb with a K, announced on his Twitter that he is leaving Impact Wrestling and he's done. Everyone's leaving and stuff, but how that go? Caleb Connor, who wouldn't know? He might go to AEW. You never know. Plus, two, MJF made this comment. Some woman made a comment, and MJF had called her out and snapped back at her. So, what's going on with that? We know 2 years ago around this time was the WWE releasing stars, Kurt Angle, Rusev. As you see right here, Kurt Angle made rare appearance in WWE after he got released. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, when the Impact, their contract's coming up on EC3. It was a list of people who got released going forward. And we can say this, that Matt Cardona made the best of it. Look at him. He talked about what happened 2 years ago. He was released by WWE. Said it needed to happen. It gave him a rejuvenation, and he never looked back. So Matt Cardona went from leaving, and he's already the NWA champion with all the belts. He's the belt collector. Belt collector indeed. So we know that. Also, to The Rock made a response. WWE made a response on Fox on Twitter. So when you look at the SmackDown logo, who you think of? Many people thought of The Rock. He's the one that originated the term, and he said Downtown Bruno, Harvey Whitman was the one that came up with SmackDown. So Downtown Bruno. This man taking all these folks intellectual property, these wordings, and making his own. So we see right here what was going on. We've given you a review. We saw Heyman Adam Page defeat Adam Cole for the World Championship to retain it. Ruby Solo advances on to the Owen Hart Women's Tournament, qualified the Blackpool Combat Club, win over the Gun Club in a trios match. And we see Charlotte Flair putting the figure 8 on Drew Gulak, who's you know what, Drew Gulak, like he never, you gotta say that. And we know that the Usos will, in the Rated Arcade Bro, will unify their tag team titles to crown the next WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champion. We'll get that at WrestleMania Backlash. So thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I've been your host, Kendra Dick, saying so long, and we'll see you next time for another edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. Present the SmackDown and Rampage Ring Report.